Good morning. It is January 15th in the year 2021. I hope people are having an excellent new year. This is the voice of Aggroed. I'm CEO of Splinterlands, and with me today is Yabapmatt, also just Matt. Matt, are you able to say hi?
Hey, hey.
All right, fantastic. So we do these weekly AMAs. I don't always do an intro like this, um, but I feel like it's good that people know what our voices and have some thoughts on who folks are and who's speaking at what time. So, um, okay. Anyways, we're starting this thing up. Let me go do an everyone command so that people know that the AMA is going. And you guys are welcome to start typing in your questions if you guys have things that you'd like to know, what's going to happen in the Splinterlands, or what we're going to do, or I don't know. It's an ask me anything, and I think it's important to just kind of review the fact that like you guys, you guys are welcome to ask anything. The one thing that we ask is that when you do ask it, try not to be belligerent. This is basically all thoughts and all questions are welcome. The delivery of all of them is not, and so that's the only thing I'd ask. Um, so I see Unit QM. I think this is a thoughtful question. How's the mental health after the week I've had? Yeah, this week has just been absolutely brutal, but I'm in relatively good spirits. The hack that happened on Hive Engine, I think, was an inside job, and I think that we've reset all the servers so that we should be protected and okay. And they returned most of the money, so it's just really frustrating to. I think of that as like my witness project. I think of that as this is something that I'm doing to give back to this community, and I know that people have different thoughts of what I'm doing in that project, but my main thing is I want people to build blockchain businesses. I want this world to change, and I feel like Hive Engine is one of the best tools that I know how to create to facilitate that. So I feel like it's a community project, and it's definitely a little heartbreaking to have somebody steal money from that and steal money from me in this project. So, but I'm actually feeling pretty good about the project as a whole, just because one of the biggest complaints has been it's not decentralized enough, but that's literally what we were going to announce if that whole event hadn't happened. And ironically, it would have the thing that we were going to implement over the course of this week and next, or maybe it's the next couple of weeks here, is would have stopped that stupid hack from happening. So it's a little ironic, but also darkly hilarious. Um, so all things considered, I mean, my life is sort of overwhelming these days, just trying to do as many things as I'm doing, but I feel like I'm holding in there pretty well. And I like this community. I like this project. I like what we're building, and I feel like it's a really important step for like blockchain. I think Matt and I have the best chance of having an app actually go mainstream out of anybody in crypto. I mean, like Ethereum projects are really awesome and really cool, and there's tons of money, just gobs of money, just sitting there to be claimed. And at the same time, there's just a ton of scaling issues and just ease of use. It what Matt and I have tried to focus on a lot in terms of user onboarding and getting people into this project is just focus on how do we make it as easy as possible for people to not be in crypto at all and learn how to play and come into this ecosystem. And I pat ourselves on the back. I think we've done that better than anybody. That's not to say that there's not more room to grow, but I just think that we're on a chain that can scale, with a process that can scale, with a community that will grow with us, and I just feel like we're one good deal away from really breaking out. So, all things considered, I'm about as happy as can be. Any thoughts on that, Matt?
those are my feelings exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like we're blessed. So, and when that next big thing happens, it's not just Matt and I that'll benefit. I mean, what's so amazing about blockchain is that everybody that's here, when that next deal gets announced, when the next big project, when one thing just fires off that right way, and we've been holding steady, we've been growing. You can see like we had a great sales day yesterday, and it's just filled with like new names, and there's names I recognize, and a bunch that like I've never seen before. So there's new people purchasing. They're using currencies that we didn't accept at the beginning. Like we're building this community, and people keep adding on, and it's fantastic. So I think we're going to have a really strong January, and January has always been one of our worst months. And we're after our big land sale release. We're after the holidays. It's now just a regular, boring January where we're trying to plug out development work, and we're having really strong sales for the month. So I feel like we have a lot of wind at our back, and the cryptocurrencies going up. And one of these days, the thought that I have is that this is not financial advice, but Bitcoin is going up. Eventually, Ethereum's going to go up. Ethereum's going to hit its all-time high, and that's going to be when like the real altcoin bull market starts kicking off. And Matt and I have not been building in like a hive bull market ever. So now it's less important because we have all these additional ecosystems that we've tagged into and worked with and partners, and so it's not quite as essential as it was previously that Hive does well. But a lot of the guys here own Hive and use Hive and are familiar with Hive and have a stash of Hive, and if Hive goes up, I think that makes a big difference in terms of how much disposable income does everybody around here have. So so we're getting there, man. We're getting there. I feel like we're at a good pace, and I hope that there's other pieces to this that are going to help us grow in the not too distant future. And I don't know. That's good stuff. All right. So have the next set of reward cards been announced? Oh, actually, no, I missed one. Question: is a full development of the land release contingent on the funds raised by selling the remaining 63,460 plots that are still available for purchase? So, Matt, are we going to be able to develop the land even if we don't have all of those plots sold?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, like, if the very few of the plots sell and we stop selling anything else during the course of the year, that would be a bigger issue. But as long as things at least keep going as they have been, even without like growth, we have planned for that, and land is the main thing. We may not be able to do a lot of other things concurrently, but land is going to be our focus this year, like regardless of what happens. We're going to make sure that's released. But that being said, I'm pretty confident in selling out at least the majority, if not all, of those land plots over the course of the year. I mean, it's we don't need all the money right now. So I think as things go further, as different parts of it are released, I'm not too worried about that. And we're also looking at other avenues for investment and other type of ways to grow the business, for all sorts of different things that we want to do. So so if it's like everything goes badly, then that's going to make things difficult for us. I still plan to build and release the land no matter what happens. But yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape as things stand right now.
Yeah, sometimes it's about like how much extra pieces we want. It is like how much of this is going to be animated, how much of it is going to move, how much of it is going to like how many bells and whistles are we able to add? There's certainly enough for us to go rock out an MVP, and then we keep building on it from there. Unit QM is asking, have the next set of reward cards been announced? And the answer is no.
So,
Matt, when are you gonna? We have a post, or where are we at with those?
I've been trying to announce this all week, and it's going to be today. I have the post almost ready. That will include also announcing the new rule sets, which include, Aggroed's Infinite Trample rule set that
Nice.
we've been waiting for forever. Um, with the reward cards, see, the thing is, we spend like a lot of time, and a lot of credit also goes to Byzantinus, for helping with this. But like we really go through like every card that exists in the game and look at the new cards and try to make sure they're not only balanced, but that they don't they don't obsolete any old cards, and that they're sufficiently different. There's going to be I think two new abilities. We announced one of them, the close range ability with Beatrix. So two additional new abilities that are going to be added, with the new cards. So that's just why this stuff takes long. And then, we gotta get the art ready, which is still in process because we need to wait till we actually pick which cards we're going to use and what art we're going to use. And then, Chris Roberts just finished up, naming and lore, which is fantastic as always. So, my plan was to get this out like early in the week, and then, with all the back and forth and tweaking, it takes longer. But I am going to get the post out today, come hell or high water. And so the cards then will actually be out next week. We usually like to give about a week heads up, about that. So that's the plan. So they're cool, the new reward cards. I think there's going to be mostly the majority are going to be common because those are the cards that reach their print limit. There's going to be one new legendary, which I think is cool. But yeah, they're neat with the new abilities, and I think it'll just kind of open things up, for some new play styles, new meta. And then, we'll have those abilities available for even more cards going forward. So that's been a big project this week. So looking forward to that.
Sweet. So, Quantum Nachos. Question from Crypto Reaper in the land chat earlier. Can we add a weekly segment to the AMAs that will tell us at least one thing currently being worked on with the land? I know it usually comes up, but if there was here's what we're currently doing, it may help keep users interested in buying. I feel like we do try to do updates as we're going, both updating on the website and updating here. Is Nate here? Because maybe Nate could show some of the designs that they're tentatively working on. He's not here this morning.
I can show some of the stuff he sent us.
Yeah, let's do that, because then I think people would like to see this and get a sense of what might it look like and how might it roll out. So Matt will go and put a couple. You
want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now. Let's put a couple images out.
Let me find it. I wasn't prepared. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. He likes to watermark them too. I don't know if that's worth it, but.
Well, they're not watermarked, so you guys are gonna all steal them and sell them for lots of money online.
So that'll be out here shortly, and.
But what we're mainly focusing on. Well, so I've been working on building out the raffle, which is scheduled. The drawing is on the 26th of January, which is a Tuesday, I believe. So yeah, a lot of some development work's obviously been going into that. The development work part isn't very exciting, but I know you guys are excited for the raffle drawing, so I'm going to try to make that somewhat visually appealing without going overboard as far as spending time and resources on it. But then as far as land is concerned, Aggroed and I met again last week, and a big focus. We have a whole bunch of ideas that have been thrown around all over the place, but we're kind of starting to really focus in and like cut out things that aren't necessary, at least for V1, and focus on the most important parts, putting numbers to everything, and initially starting with how the actual map layout will work, what the regions will look like, how people will be choosing or getting, assigned their regions, plots, and tracks, and how they'll interact with it and see the plots. So that's what I'm going to share, because that's what we've been working on. So I think I have it here. So here's a screenshot. And again, these are all very like early on designs. So we're kind of like, Nate and the artists are putting things together, and we're going to see what works and what doesn't. So things may change materially from this. So, don't hang your hat on, well, you guys showed a picture that looked like this, and, now it's different when it's released. It's probably going to be different. So you heard it here. So here's kind of like, a zoomed in area of the full map, and these little hexagons, like Settlers of Catan, would be the regions. And they may or may not be closer together or whatever. And then, so the one that looks, different is one like highlighted over. So, someone moved their mouse over this one in the middle, and then they can click on it and get kind of a zoomed in view of all the individual plots. And, they can kind of see the different terrain types based on the colors. Then there might be, when they have buildings or a castle or a keep, there'll be a little icon on the plots, so you can, easily identify, kind of what they have on them. And then, you can click on them and do your actions, do what you want. We're gonna also probably make a list view or grid view option. So if you don't always want to like click through the map and have to find your individual plots, you can just, pull up a grid or list view and just sort or filter, by various different means. So we're going to put a lot of work into the UI for being, easily able to get to the different pieces of land that you want to get to, and even also potentially take actions on, multiple plots at the same time easily within the UI. So that's a lot of what we're working on. So that's our one thing that we've been working on recently for land.
Yeah, trying to get it out here so that you guys can claim it, you guys can have your regions, you guys can start seeing what they'll look like, getting the actual NFTs in your wallet. That's the dream, and that's what we're development. I do say this a couple times, but I don't think it hurts to repeat. Development has a couple different stages at it, of like, you have the idea inception, then you kind of have the design and agreement to pursue it. Then you get into like actual design of what it would look like. This is kind of like pen and paper stuff, just drawn out maps by hand, or like a little bit of stuff with Photoshop or so. Then we kind of settle into where we want to be, and then there's usually some big content push with a team of artists. So when we do these regions, that's a lot of regions that we're going to have to go make up, design, how many of the different dots and how many of the different places are going to be where, does it line up with the map and how we've drawn it. Like there's a whole bunch of work that has to happen there, which just, there's no way around that. If you have to do 150 regions, that we're going to have like a lot of time where the artists just have to crank this stuff out. So that, to my knowledge, is already ongoing. That we're getting the regions started to get pumped out, so that there's 1,500 or 150 regions, and it'll be known what they look like. Okay, and then after that, then you get into like, we have to do all the back end design, which again is like pen and paper, or usually like the big picture is pen and paper, but then after that we get into like Excel spreadsheets, and it's like pages and pages of Excel trying to figure out how does all this math work out. And then after that, it's actual programming of the back end. And then once the back end is programmed, then we have all this front end work to do of like, now we have to make it so that the user can navigate their mouse on a page and type some stuff and click some buttons, have it look intuitive, have it look interesting, have it be interactive. And all of those are the various steps that go in. Then it's actually launching, and then after that, there's like a whole stage of bug testing. Then you can launch, and then it's into like tweaking mode.
There's also the phase that usually happens of once we kind of start building this stuff out and trying it and using it, we're like, this doesn't work. We got to change these 5 things, and you'll have to go back and redo some stuff. But that's an important part of the whole process, in my opinion.
Yeah. And because that process is so long and there's so many different steps involved, we're not just stuck on the one thing that we're doing. Because like right now, even if we want to do like tons of land as like the focus of our company, there's not a lot of back end like coding that we're ready for yet. So so that's part of why it's awesome that we can like point towards Cryptomancer and be like, hey dude, let's try to finish up these guild tournaments in the next month or so and get that rolled out, because like we're not quite ready for back end programming with the land sale stuff. So we'll get there, and like all the ways that the land can produce resources and the things that will edit them and change them and give them bonuses or make them worse, like all that gets programmed in on the back end. And so there's plenty for Matt and Cryptomancer to do, but like we can't just like it doesn't make much sense to just turn around and be like, all right, do this, because it has to be much more designed to be like, okay, this piece of land will produce at this rate, and if you have these summoners, it'll change it by this much. If you have these monsters, it'll do that. Here's some pieces of gear. This is how it'll interact with it. And like we gotta design that whole thing in Excel first, and then pass it along the developers and be like, okay, this is how this thing kind of works out here. Let's now make that programmatic for the game. So so we're doing a lot of work to get the guild tournaments out, and we're doing a lot of work there's a whole bunch of mobile pieces that are happening now, like the mobile tutorial is an ongoing project. And so I just want to emphasize that even if we're like really focused right now for our like all of our design resources are really poured into land, but that's not quite where the development resources are. The development resources are still knocking out. We want to get some rental things going. We got to get the raffle stuff going. We need to get there's possibly some other like token integrations that we want to do. There's and guild tournaments are the brawls are a big one. So I just hope people hear that like just because we're working on land doesn't mean that we've stopped development in other areas. And just because we're working on guild tournaments doesn't mean that, to hell with land, we're just punting. Like it's a long enough process that involves enough different groups so that our design heavy stuff is really focused on land. Our development heavy stuff is really focused on getting the guild brawls out. So hopefully that gives you guys a sense of like, how do we build? Why do we build it that way? How do we make this stuff work? How do you make the Splinterland sausage? And that hopefully helps clarify some of that to you guys. Do you think I did an okay job with that, Matt? Other than the redesign cycle that I might have missed, and anything else you'd want to add about the whole process or what we're doing and why we're doing it?
That's good. The redesign thing is, one that comes up a lot. So that's an important, that's an important piece. And we're earlier on in the business, like in the first year, we built things and threw stuff out a lot faster. But there wasn't as much like design and thought that went into it. And, as we are more mature as a business, and as a product, we need to. There's also a lot more to consider. Like there's a lot more existing in the game already, and everything new we add affects everything that exists. So it's really important. Like even when adding a new card, every new card, you have to consider pretty much everything else in the game and how it relates to that. So that's why these changes take time, and it's much more on design. Which isn't just not just graphic design, but like the design of how the features work and the economy and numbers and things. than it is actual development.
And we learned with the collection power that just being like, hey, Cryptomancer, just make this. It doesn't work. I mean, nothing against Cryptomancer. It's too big of a project. There's too many people. There's too many ways to do it. We asked him to go code that thing 3 different times. He was pulling his hair out. We were pulling our hair out. So it's just we gotta focus on the design, make sure it works, and make sure that we're happy with it, make sure it fits, and then we can hand it off to the dev team. And then, so there's just a bunch of processes that are going to happen before we get to the players being able to see a lot of visual progress. But we will keep trying to share some of this art. But at some point, it's going to be all right, we now have 30 regions. Go look at these 30, and when we go to 40, you're not going to see some major new thing, but we gotta work our way through all of these, all the different art has to get kind of churned out, and we're working on it. So I feel pretty good about the pace of the land so far. I feel good about where Matt and I have gotten in terms of yes, we're going to keep this. No, we're going to throw that out. I can't tell you how many of my ideas Matt has just killed. It's just, he is a murderer of ideas. But I get it because our product resources, while we're pretty good at this, you just can't do everything. And I know that the players get frustrated too, because you guys are here's a good idea, let's do this. And we're yes, that is a good idea, but we don't have the bandwidth. And I'm sure that gets frustrated. It is a frustrating process, and I know it's frustrating for the product team to be we have a huge undertaking of which we've taken hundreds of thousands of dollars. We can't do everything. We got to be focused. We got to get this thing out, and we got to make sure that the players get what they paid for. And I think that's both important to Matt and I. So when he kills my ideas, there's that little tinge of no, but I get it. We gotta make smart choices, and I guess my point with this is that whether it's me, Matt, the players, or the dev team, product team, Nate, whoever, good ideas aren't always enough to cut it. They really have to be exceptional, because there's just not enough bandwidth to tackle every thought, want, and desire that somebody might have for this game. Now, Quantum, I actually have a post, which I haven't even shared with Matt, that I've been working on this. So Quantum is asking, can you give any stats on current active player base and average new players joined in the last month or so? So we just added this into sort of our daily tracking system. So far in the first 15 days of January, I'll write these numbers down. We've had 2415 signups, and we've had 299 spellbook purchases, and that brings our total up to registered accounts is 56,811, and our total spell books is 19,052. So the first two numbers this is the growth. So let me it's like a eight. We're tracking an 8 or 9% growth for the month of January, and January is usually one of our crappiest months. It's not like we have many of these to go off of, but the first quarter is not our strongest point. So seeing 8% growth in January, I'm actually pretty pleased with that. And the spellbook purchases is not quite as high. If we end up at 600, what's 600 divided by 19,000? 19,052. What is that? That's what percent growth is that? can't do math while being on a Discord call. But anyways, I feel like it's a good pace. I mean, 1.6% growth in spellbooks.
But here are some numbers. Like, here are just averages for the past 5 months. So the first number is the average daily new signups, and the second number is average daily spellbook purchases. So there's been just really fantastic growth over the last 5 months, and some of that can be attributed to cryptocurrency prices. We've done additional marketing for the land sale in a number of places. I think on DAP Radar, on WAC, a couple other places we did land sale advertising. We're still working with Brave, and we have some hopefully new promotions with them that will hopefully be out in the near future. So we're definitely liking what we're seeing here, and that should be very encouraging for all of you also, that like things are growing and they're kind of picking up speed into this year.
So, and there's other things that we're going to try this year that we haven't done as much of in previous years. Still working out some details, still working out some partnerships. So, I don't know. I'm pleased, and I think we're seeing that in the secondary market values, and watching the changes up there. Breaking 6 million is a big deal. So, I mean, we get new players every day, and we get new people spending money every day, and it's not just people buying money from Splinterlands. It's people buying money from you guys, or buying cards from you guys, and dark energy crystals from you guys. So, so it's on my brain that I kind of want to. One of these things I want to do is like work with Mavericks to pass out small numbers of spell books and see if everybody can go recruit a few humans. I haven't thought that through all the way, but something like that. Again, trying to get, like, COVID is still here. I've been having this ambassador program in my head for a long time. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens when we settle this. But maybe there's some limited version of that we can do to get new folks in. But everything that we do for like these partnerships is like you find a vein, and we try to mine it for the new people. So there's some new group that comes along, or new token we can accept, and yet like not just accepting a token isn't enough. We accepted Uniswap, and even though that's worth a bunch of money, we haven't seen a lot from there. But like with Electronium, that was a community. We connected with these people. We were able to sort of merge and team forces, and we put out posts and they put out posts, and like it was a nice strong partnership there where there's co-marketing for some extended periods of time and relationships are built, and that looks pretty good. Whereas some of the other ones, we put it in there and nothing really happened, and so it's about like integrating the communities is really how we get that growth. And that, how do you integrate community? Is not like a one size fits all, here is the way, but hopefully doing some AMAs, community building, getting people in Discord, communicating. Those are ways that we can engage. All right, Jester Ago is asking, the partnerships with blockchain heroes and cogs seem to create a lot of hype and increased untamed pack sales. Are there additional promotional partnerships planned in Q1 for other NFT partners? I was meeting with Carrie and Chris yesterday. That's our marketing and content team, and sharing that doing that is really important. One of the things about that is like, I think the Digicon event went pretty well, and partners want to be there. And so if we can create this nice space through Digicon for new projects to showcase what they're doing, it also helps us build a pipeline for new projects for us to co-market with. and that way we can take advantage of all the ways that they are growing their communities, and we can find some overlap. And especially if they're newer projects, they get excited because we're a little bit older and have more of a existing user base, and if they can tap into that at all, then they get excited. So so I think the like partnership side is going to be like, it's definitely a priority. It's definitely like, I think Matt and I were both impressed by just how many sales went through and how many new people we got through Cogs and Blockchain Heroes. So we're both looking to do more. Um, so and I think Digicon, even though it feels like a little bit separate from Splinterlands, is going to be like a really good avenue for that. But come here, come meet these people, meet all these other guys, form business relationships, be friendly. Okay, now that we're all friendly in business relationship, why don't you give us some packs and we'll give you our packs, and then we'll co-market this. And it's like, it's not enough to just do the one-time thing. It's like we have to go build this long-term relationship with these other companies and stay in their radar and keep interacting with them. And that's how I think this stuff will grow. So, any other thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, well, it kind of also ties into Kazrak's question right after that. Specifically with Blockchain Heroes and Cogs, they were both releasing, new sets or big new things that they also wanted to promote in December. I'm not sure, how many projects, we're always looking for projects to do similar types of promotions with, but it also depends on their schedules. And I also haven't heard of the Alien Worlds game, but I will check it out on Wax. But in general, we are going to be doing a lot more with Wax within the next month or so. So Wax is something we've kind of been working with for over a year now, and there's been a lot of plans and ideas, and we're just getting to the point where we can really start implementing a lot of crossover between Splinterlands and Wax that will just open up a lot of stuff for us to be able to, transfer assets over to Wax, similar to how you can do with the cards on Ethereum right now. Cards and packs and land and all that stuff will be able to go back and forth between Wax and Splinterlands. And that will open up a lot of opportunities to do kind of more interesting promotions, for Splinterland stuff on Wax, or with other projects that are on Wax that can cross over. So that's kind of a big project for Q1, also, that we haven't really talked about a lot, but it should be pretty soon. And then I mentioned, we're also looking to do some more specific promotions with Brave, maybe also Gala Games. So yeah, I mean, promotions have worked out really well, cross promotions, working with other communities. So we're just, going after every kind of opportunity we can possibly get in that area.
Is there an ETA for the DEC stablecoin on Uniswap?
Yeah, I don't have an exact ETA, but we've already set up the a DEC DAI pool, DAI stablecoin from MakerDAO, and so I've done the back end programming to pull the data from 2 different pools, and I think what we're likely going to do is we're just going to have to split the reward pool. So right now it's 100 million dark energy crystals over the course of the year as the reward. So it'll probably have to be split, 50 million for the Ether pool and 50 million for the DAI pool. And we'll give, people enough heads up for them to move their tokens. And then it'll sort of be a bit of an arbitrage situation for liquidity providers, right? If like everyone jumps over to the DAI pool, then, it'll incentivize people to put some liquidity in the Ether pool, just because there'll be more rewards available, and vice versa. But that way it'll give people the option. Do they want to put up Ether and try to earn higher, DEC rewards, or do they want to, get into stable coin, potentially earn fewer DEC rewards, but, have more stable value there? So that's the plan. I don't have a date for it. It'd be, it would definitely be later in the month or early February, because the focus right now is the raffle and a few other things. But that's definitely in the works.
Okay. I'm trying to think through what other big things we have to talk about, because we have guild tournaments moving, land is moving, art for the land is moving. I think I want to try to squeeze in a boss fight between the guild tournaments and really like the actual start and rollout of land. Some rental stuff. Is this a Korean chat? No, those are just wax IDs.
You can actually make, if you pay a relatively small wax fee, you can make your own wax ID. It just has to be exactly 12 characters in length. So I don't know if people know that, but if you don't want your weird random letters .wam, you can spend a few wax and make your own name.
One of Nachos is asking, did anything else come out of picking the brain and roll the decks of the Farmville developers? I mean, it looks like we're going to go do a Gala and DEC pool on Uniswap. So maybe another one over there. It's like a neat promotional between the two of us.
That's going to be like an ongoing thing. So we work with them and talk with them a lot. They've introduced us to some investors and some other projects that we may be partnering with, and various other things. So that's just like an ongoing helpful relationship.
And hopefully, as they, as they're rolling out Miranda's and they're rolling out stuff, hopefully they're going to come look at us and say, hey, can you help us promote these things? And as we roll out our stuff, we'll say, hey, can you help us promote these things? And collectively, we're able to just push our products farther. One other thing that I've been happy with is I put out I put out the tournament schedule, and not everybody's pleased with it, so we built a group, and now if you go into its tournament planning, but you guys are welcome if you have strong thoughts, feelings of how tournaments should work. I've asked these guys to put together over the course of the next month what they would want the tournament schedule to look like. So rather than just venting into the ether, there's a productive channel that people can join and focus their attention. And for the course of the next month, if you feel like you would like your voice heard, then please participate in that discussion. And if there's a strong consensus amongst the Mavs and it works for Matt and I, then that'll be the direction that I think we head. So it's not a guarantee. It's not a promise that we'll just do whatever the Mavs say or whatever that group says. It doesn't have to be all Mavs, but we want this game to have player input, be a part of it. That's why we do these Kickstarters and let players be a part of it and design cards and participate in game mechanics and think about land. And we want this to be heavily community. So the tournaments are a contentious part because it's a big pool of cash. And if you're looking for a constructive way to participate in that discussion, then feel free to join the tournament planning area. Speaking of Mavs, how many Mavs are there? And have they been increasing? Yes, they've been increasing. How many Mavs there are right now? Servers, members, Monster Maverick. Where's the rolls? Maybe I do it this way. Rolls. Nope. It's not giving me. Oftentimes, it'll tell me how many members there are, but it's not telling me. So I'm not going to sit here and count this while on the call, but there's a whole bunch of them. It's actually this thing is being oh man, this thing is being recorded. So I don't know. You can see me scroll through it. It's a pretty long list.
Carita Feliz also asked if there's going to be new rewards cards to replace some of the ones that went out of print. So yes, and we talked about that a little earlier, but for anyone that missed it, the post with reward card details should be going out today. We're still just working on, finishing up everything. But that's, there will be, if you want, if you're up for that, Aggroed, I could share a couple of the new cards in chat as a little sneak preview.
Yeah, let's do it.
Shortly anyway.
Let's do it.
There's one. So the chain spinner, I could talk about this a little bit. So I think, he's common. He's kind of vanilla. He has the void armor ability, which means magic attacks hit his armor before health, just like ranged and melee attacks. So I think he's going to be pretty powerful, especially with Resurrect, because when you resurrect, when a monster is resurrected, it comes back with 1 health, but it comes back with its full armor, and it may have additional armor from Protect or Life Splinter Summoners or whatever. So the counter to it really though is the Shatter ability. So you're going to want to, if you have a small guy with Shatter, he hits the chain spinner and all that armor is gone. So yeah, Neil's saying resurrect and armor always seem broken. I don't consider it broken. I consider that part of how it works, which is key. Like you wanna combo those type of monsters together, and then we also try to have abilities like Shatter, which can counter it. With Equalizer, it's a great card. So this, I'm pretty excited about this one. I think it's pretty interesting. I'll do one more that I have to pick. Let's see this one. So this Death Splinter card has a new ability, which is called Phase, which means that magic attacks can miss, just like ranged and melee attacks. So it's a very high speed monster, and magic attacks can also miss it, and it has Blast. So you can see, it's a pretty strong tank, especially if you're playing against a team with lower speed. You never really had to worry about magic attack monsters and their speed as far as hitting, but now you will. So he's pretty exciting too. And you guys were saying those are legendary stats. One of the things is, so we needed mostly, as I mentioned, new common monsters for the reward cards. There will be some other rarities, but the common ones are the ones that went out of print recently. But as far as stats are concerned, we have point values assigned to everything. So armor, health, speed, the different attacks, all the different abilities have different point values. And then we have a different point target for every card. And, the rarity factors into it. So legendary cards will have a higher point target than common cards. So, these cards being common have lower overall stat points than a legendary card would have. But even just because they're common doesn't mean they're bad cards. They're easier to get, but they're still difficult to get to max level. So really in the game, the rarity doesn't necessarily mean how good they are, how useful they are. I mean, as we've certainly seen, there are many common cards or rare cards which are much more heavily used than some legendary cards. So we don't say like, oh, they're common, so we want to make them crappy. We want to make every card useful in different situations, which is also why it's kind of difficult to design cards, because there's I don't even know how many cards are in the game. You'd think I would know that, but there's a lot, and we try to make every single card useful in at least certain situations. So there's a little preview of what's coming up. The full post with all 10 new reward cards and some new rule sets will be out later today, barring any unforeseen events.
I thought that the spreadsheet had legendary and common. If they're max level, they both had the same total points distributed. Do I have that wrong?
No. Each rarity has a little bit more points. So everything else being equal, legendary cards should be a little better stat wise than common cards. It's actually 1 point per, and like 1 health is equal to 1 point. That's kind of our baseline that we judge everything else by. So we start with like 1 health is 1 point, and then everything is based on that. So like a rare card will have 1 more point target than a common. Epic will have 1 more than a rare, and legendary will have 1 more than epic. So a legendary will have 3 more points than a common. So it's not that big. So like a legendary at max level might have 3 more health than the exact same common card at max level. And again, we can't accurately, judge how good everything is just based on these point values. Because obviously, if you like combine certain abilities and stats, they're better than they would be by themselves. So there's a lot of judgment going in, and some cards have like over the target points, some cards have below, because using our judgment, we feel that certain things are stronger or weaker. But that's how we, that's the design process. So I go through, I take the points as a starting goal. I kind of design the card, how I think would be good and where it would fit, and then we take a look through all the similar cards for the same splinter or different splinters, and kind of make sure it's sufficiently different and not like too overpowered or underpowered compared to its peers, you could say. That's why this also takes so long, on top of all the other stuff going on.
But other than all of that, Matt and I really don't do much.
Right. Yeah, we don't do a whole lot.
All right. So what else? We got maybe 7 minutes here. Other things that the community wants to know? Other stuff that you guys want to ask? I see a couple people typing. So we just got a couple more questions I think that we can fit in here. Anyone? Did you share your favorite cards, Matt? Or
I shared cards that I thought were cool, and I'm more highly confident are not going to be changing in the next few hours before I release the post.
Got it. What's the third ability?
The third ability. All right, fine. I'll share another card with the third ability.
Nice. You guys are welcome.
So the third ability is True Strike. This is the Minotaur here. It means that their attacks can't miss. So regardless of speed or blind or dodge or whatever, he will not miss with the melee attack. And again, this card is sort of more vanilla, not super interesting, but it does highlight the new ability, and I think we're gonna see True Strike being used in a lot more interesting ways in future cards.
Question to Matt: when do you plan to fix the Little League issue, as it's picked for mono games higher than 28? Because of that, this rule set is overrepresented, as everything above 28 is exactly the same.
I didn't really think of that as like a big issue. It's just, that happens sometimes. It's relatively rare. Hold on a sec, guys. My doorbell's ringing a lot, so I gotta go see what's going on. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, we have about 5 minutes left here. Then we can get one or two more questions in, I think. I don't know. Just um, overall, things are going in a good direction. We're like growing faster than we have before. We have a good tailwind, and like the full altcoin boom isn't even here yet. Sales are strong. We're getting some good partnerships. Matt and I are working on financial stuff. Um, Bitcoin is going through the freaking roof. There's a lot of good stuff. There's lots for us to be grateful for, and lots that, and we're seeing that it's not just like, core business stats for us. It's like the community stuff. We're seeing lots of transactions. We're seeing lots of sales. We're seeing lots of secondary market activity, and just those values climbing. So,
I'm back. Sorry about that. My mother-in-law was dropping off cookies.
okay. How will the raffle drawing look like? Is it like a pack opening, or are we just get a list of stuff that we got out of it?
I'm going to try to make it like a pack opening or a chest opening, with the caveat that since it's kind of like a one-time thing, I don't want to spend too much time and resources on it. So I'm going to try to make it, fun and exciting for people, but without going too crazy. So that's the plan there.
Okay. I think we've had a good hour here. I think it's okay to start winding stuff down for this. Maybe do you want to go back to 3 p.m. next week, or do you want to go do an evening one?
See the calendar. Yeah, I don't know. I think we should do an evening one. Give some different people a chance to get on.
All right, you want to do 8 p.m.?
Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern,
Yep.
which should be 1 a.m. UTC.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as per usual, I just want to thank this community. I think this was a nice AMA. If you guys have tournament thoughts, please put them into tournament planning. If you have, please help us grow the game, spread the word, put it on social media. I really want to push to get us over 20,000 Summoner Spellbooks, and we're only 1,000 away. So I have that in mind as sort of some promotional thing that we as a community work on together. I feel like we should have some goals set just for all of us, because it's not just Matt and I doing this. It's all of us together. We all go to the same moon, guys. So hopefully you'll help share with your community, share with your people, your referral links, and let's try to get some more signups, and have that come by word of mouth and come from word of the community. I'll see if we can't design some sort of contest for, most new players invited and accepted, or which player had the highest referral bonus in a certain month. I don't know, something. There's got to be something that it works even with a little weird aspect of blockchain that can help us all grow.
Yeah, one thing on that, on that vein, we kind of talked about like governance along with the land expansion, and I think over the course of the year, that's something we really want to focus on a lot in all aspects of the game, not just the land expansion. Is like more player input into all sorts of different aspects. Via certain governance systems or voting mechanisms and things like that. I think that's definitely going to be an important part of the land expansion, but we also just overall want to expand that into a larger part of the game and have it be a more formal process than just talking to us on Discord as it is now. But that's like a goal and direction we want to move in.
Yep. So Zero Cool is asking, are we going to release a governance token? And I don't think It's
That's
too early.
TBD.
Yeah, it's too early to say yes, but that is definitely something that Matt and I are throwing around and trying to figure out. So, um, anyways, thank you all so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting this community. Thanks for playing our game. Thanks for some thoughtful questions about my health. That was nice. I feel strong about this game. I feel strong about this community. I feel like we got great tailwinds, and I hope you guys have a great new season. Hopefully, you liked the Beatrix airdrop, and that was favorable to you. And I don't know. I'm excited to see you guys and see our game grow, and we're moving in the right direction. That's what I think. So, anyways, that was it. That was Aggroed and Yabapmatt talking about Splinterlands. Thanks for being here. The next AMA is scheduled for next week at 8 p.m. and Eastern. And feel free to shoot questions our way, either in the AMA channel or direct to Matt and I. And we're here to respond. And otherwise, we're building. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here, and have a wonderful weekend.